You are tuned in to the Lone Star Jukebox.
Yeah.
We are speaking to Paul Thorn. And Paul, if you could, for let's say somebody tunes in who doesn't know Paul Thorn, because I love to tell your story. Your story, it doesn't even sound true. You know, the whole Sting connection, the whole fight in Roberto Duran, Manos de Pierda, your whole tent revival. Father was a preacher, uncle was a pimp. I mean, your artistic ability. I have two or three of your paintings.
Yeah.
So tell folks a little bit. It's a quick 60-second. Who is Paul Thorne, and where did Paul Thorne come from?
I'm a guy that I failed the sixth grade, and then I got an eighth grade talent show. I won first place singing Lionel Richie's "Three Times a Lady,"
Did
and
you
then
really?
and then from there it just exploded into the stratosphere.
you know, I may have to have a little hint of that. Three times a lady.
Once, twice, three times a lady. I made a lot of progress with the girls in school when I sang that.
I bet you even the teachers are coming after you.
Yeah, I think the teacher. I think that's why I failed the sixth grade. The teacher held me back because she wanted to be around me.
Man, Paul Thorne. S
But
T
yeah,
U
no,
D.
no. But I've just, I've just, I don't know how to describe it. But I've just fell into a lot of things
Well,
that,
music. You're.
yeah.
Did you study art anywhere, or you just picked
No,
it up?
I just self-taught. I just always liked to draw when I was a kid, and and the way I got into boxing was my uncle who was the pimp. He he was well. I mean that may sound funny, but
Well, it sounds funny just because it.
it's true. It's true. My uncle, the way I met my uncle was missing from the family for 10 solid years. We thought he was dead. Nobody knew where he was. And then one day we were sitting in the kitchen and a phone rang. And my dad picked up the phone and it was his brother, who he thought was dead, on the phone calling after 10 years. And one of the girls that one of the prostitutes that he was a pimp for, she got pregnant and had a baby. And when the baby was born, the mother was on heroin, and he saw this little baby, and something clicked in his head, and he decided he's going to straighten his life out and raise this baby. And so he left Los Angeles, where he was out there pimping, and came back to Mississippi with a little baby, all by himself. And
Whoa.
he was he was still in that pimp mentality, and he was still pimping. It was just I was too young to see it, but he was, when he came back, he was pimping. He would leave for long spells, and when you'd ask him where he was going, he would say he was going on a fundraiser, but he was pimping. That's what he was doing.
Fun.
But anyway, my uncle was also a boxer when he was out in Los Angeles. He had like an 8-1 record, but he had talent, but he lacked discipline. And then when I saw him dressed like, like pimps dress, and everything out of his mouth, he was so eloquent, and because pimps are usually good speakers and everything. And I just started worshiping this guy. I thought he was the coolest cat I'd ever seen, and he started teaching me how to box just for fun, and under the carport, and I don't think I ever really wanted to box. I just wanted his approval. Everything he did, I wanted to do it too, and so I started learning how to box, and I got really good. And I got at one time I was 29 in the world. That's how. But I wasn't great. I wasn't great, but I was good. I was good enough that when I got in the ratings, I got to fight on TV against Roberto Duran. And
Tuesday night fights, wasn't it?
yeah, on Tuesday Night Fights. Yeah, USA's Tuesday Night Fights, and you know, uh, looking back, my uncle gave me a really good strategy that if I had have followed it, I actually had a chance of winning. But my inexperience and lack of confidence held me back. My strategy was, well, when you cannot beat Roberto Duran by going to him, by because he's a master counter puncher, and he's so good at timing somebody when they're moving towards him. The way to beat Duran is the way Leonard did in the second fight, which was peck and move, and frustrate him. And don't go to him. Let him come to you. Because Duran, believe it or not, does not fight as good when he's moving forward. He fights better when he's moving backwards because he's a counterpuncher.
Seems just the opposite.
No, you think that, but he's a master. He is a master counterpuncher. And what counterpunching, the definition of counterpunching is when his opponent throws a punch, he moves out of the way of it, and before you can recoil, he comes over with his own punch. And he was a master at that. And my uncle told me, he said, before the fight, he says, do not go to him. Let him come to you. And I said, why is that? And he says, well, the burden of proof is not on you. The burden of proof is on him because he's your Duran and you're a nobody. He said, be patient. So the first round I went out there and I did what he said. I waited, and he did the same thing because he was smarter than me. And anyway, in the second round, my immature mind started thinking, well, there's a lot of people here. If I don't go out there and really go after Duran and fight him, they're going to start booing me. That's how immature I was. And so, sure enough, he kept waiting. I kept waiting. I got impatient. I started moving forward. And literally, the first punch he threw knocked me down. But you know what? And it wasn't, and it didn't even hurt me. He was just so good. I threw a punch and he just kind of moved out of the way of it and just came over the top with a right hand, and I went right on the seat of my pants. But the second my butt hit the floor, I jumped right up because I wasn't hurt. It was just a sweet little punch he hit me with, but that punch split my lip all the way up to my nose. I have a really sharp tooth right there. I've always had it from grinding my teeth. And my mouthpiece was down when he hit me with it.
Oh.
So his glove went into my tooth, and it just split like a razor blade. And I hung with Duran for 6 rounds, and I actually got some punches in, and I actually hurt him a couple times. He told me so after the fight. But the thing about fighting Duran, you might hit him with one good one, but you won't hit him with 2 good ones because he's so good at moving his head and staying out of the way of punches. I mean, he was a magician.
Didn't y'all drive the same ambulance at the hospital?
Yeah, we went to the hospital in the same ambulance. I cut him. He had a really bad cut over his eye too. But I will never forget that, and I'll never forget how relaxed he was. When you're boxing, the ones that's really good at boxing, if you'll really watch them, they're just completely relaxed. They're not tense. They're not.
And that's how their energy level stays because you expend so much energy when you're.
That's right. Yeah.
Bulk,
And the thing about it that people don't understand what makes Duran, another thing, what makes him so great. When he first became a world champion, he weighed 135 pounds. That was his natural weight. That was where he was at his best. But he was so talented that he could get overweight and fight guys that are 30 pounds naturally bigger than him and still win. That's crazy, man. The only time he ever got stopped, which is totally understandable, he fought Thomas Hitman Hearns.
I remember that fight.
Yeah, and and in the second round, Thomas Hearns clipped him with a right hand, and he fell on his face unconscious. Does that take away from his greatness? No. He got hit by Thomas Hitman Hearns, a guy that could knock a hole in a door.
And he had because I'm a big boxing fan.
Yeah.
Thomas had such an unorthodox style as well.
Well, and he had those long arms. He had long arms and just incredible power, and he got caught. That's the only time Duran ever got knocked out. What he did in the ring was just incredible. And I'm actually proud, even though I lost, I'm proud that I'm on a list of people that fought Roberto Duran.
Man, I love that story. I mean, people who I tell that story, Duran?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, man.
Yeah.
This guy went 7 because you couldn't come out for the 7th, right?
I think he got, my girlfriend at the time.
She the one that cheated on you 151 times?
Well, that's a rough estimate. But this girl I was dating at the time, she came to the fight, and so anyway, at the weigh-in, Duran starts talking to my girlfriend, and I could tell, looking back, hindsight being 2020, I could tell he was attracted to her, and I could tell she was attracted to him.
Oh,
I mean, it's
man.
just, I mean, he was the hands of stone and the bone of stone.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But but anyway, the day after I fought Duran, the day afterwards, at the hotel, the Tropicana Hotel, we was having lunch, we was having breakfast. I had big stitches all over my face and everything. And anyway, this night after the fight, okay. Oh, I left out one fact. My girlfriend disappeared for a brief period of time after the fight that night, okay?
Oh.
All right. So the next day, while we was having breakfast, somebody from Roberto Duran's entourage walked up to our table while we was eating and looked at my girlfriend, and he had a Roberto Duran t-shirt, and he goes, "Excuse me, ma'am, Duran wanted to make sure you got this shirt." And so I just like, this guy, man.
152 times.
I can't prove it, and I have no proof, but I really think Duran got with my girlfriend. He beat me, and then he got with my girlfriend.
The bone of stone.
The hands of stone and the bone of stone.
That's just wrong, man. That's just very,
Yeah.
very sad.
But Duran also plays. He's a salsa drummer.
Yeah,
he's a salsa. He plays percussion. And when my first album came out, I asked him would he play congas on my record, and he was actually going to do it, but he was training to fight Hector Camacho at the time, and this didn't happen. But one of the things on my bucket list is I want to get him to play on one of my records.
You better find that old girlfriend, then you'll be good.
Oh, well, I know where she lives. I stalk her on Facebook just for
Holy
fun.
cow.
Well, I won't stalk her. I don't say I stalk her. I'm not interested in her at all. But, in somebody that was in your life from the past, it's just a curiosity thing. We all do it.
Yeah.
You might think of somebody you knew in school and look their name up and see if they have a Facebook just for fun. You don't mean, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a curiosity thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Paul Thorn was on Judge Judy, you might have lost that case, Paul Thorn.
I don't know, man. I don't know.